Ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 50.1 because this is a fun one because this is actually part 2 of episode 50. Because yesterday we actually recorded this, and then when it was done, I ended it and I realized that there was something went wrong and it never recorded. But we get to do it again. We get to explain everything all over again. I have Joe Gariffo here, and Joe is, we're going to get into everything all over again. The funny thing about this was yesterday I realized right before this is my 50th podcast episode. The thing about Joe was actually my 25th guest when I used to do IG lives back in the day. And that was through a stranger danger, through Corinne. We met, formed a great friendship. We've met in person since then. Just a lot of great things. And the funny thing about what I really cracked up about yesterday, as soon as we were done, we had an hour show yesterday, really great, really fun. And then when I realized that it was no good, I was about to like dive off the deep end, because it brought me back to the old days with the IG lives when I quit with that because of all the Wi-Fi issues or whatever. And I was just like, okay, take a deep breath. It's Joe Gariffo. We just had a great conversation about laughing about everything and about just keep moving forward. So I said, I'll take a deep breath.
And about how this stuff happens. Like we talked all about all my claymation projects that never happened and why they didn't happen. And so it's funny. It's fitting. It was fitting for
the reality of life, and that's it. And again, we were like, okay, can't wait to talk again. And here we are 24 hours later talking again. So this is a good thing. How are you since I've talked to you last?
I'm good. Since we've talked last, I've seen the new episode of The Last of Us which I enjoyed. I really liked. I really like the game too. Played the game a long time ago, and it's probably the best, in my opinion, the best video game adaptation. But I won't get into that. But I enjoy. That's all that in the 24 hours since we've talked. That's the newest thing that's going on. How are you?
I'm good. And again, I'm grateful to you. Like again, it was one of those things where like, okay, here we go again. I'm going to start losing episodes. What do I do? How about you just reach out to Joe and say, hey, Joe, I lost it. And Joe's going to go, okay. And sure enough, that's, you have to, we talked a lot, and it's so funny because these are so many things we talked about yesterday about how things go wrong so fast and how you spiral out of control and how things get, and it's really not that bad. The funny thing was my wife last night congratulated me. She had this big smile on her face and she says, I'm proud of you. And I was just like, for what? And she said, the way you handled losing the podcast. Because in the past, I would become, you got to give me a couple of hours where you just don't come near me. Don't, let me.
Yeah, I'm same way.
So I'm growing. And again, I have you to thank, probably because that's what we talked about. It was therapy for me yesterday. It reminded me. And as soon as it happened, it was just, no, don't go downwards. It's going to work out. We're going to do it all over again. And we're going to talk about some of the same things or some of new things. And we're going to get to talk about what we went through, which is a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Well, we touched on a lot of stuff yesterday.
I know.
Let's get into, do you want to get into your claymation and what's going on with your claymation?
Yeah, I guess. I was saying yesterday, I just finished writing a new Jack and Alfonso short, and I know I had mentioned that we are going to make a feature-length movie with those characters, and that's still happening. It's just Zach, my writing partner, my co-creator of the show with me, he was making an independent movie that him and his other friend wrote like 10 years ago, and it was going to be an independent thing, and it now became like a studio thing, and so he's focusing on that. So we're still working together. It's just taking for it. So I was like, I'm going to make another short while you're doing this. Then, and I wrote it, waiting for his notes. But I'm going to be hopefully doing, there's a scene in his.
Okay, let's see what happened here. I lost. Okay. Yeah, I lost you there you started with, there's a scene in, and then I lost you.
There's a scene in his movie that's claymation that I'm hopefully doing. As far as I know, I'm the one doing it right now. So that's cool, but that's not going to be for a little bit. So I was like, I'm creatively frustrated. So I'm like, I need to do something. So I was like, I just wrote another thing, and I'm going to do that.
Now,
And
now let me ask you that that's an important thing about being creatively frustrated, because that's something that definitely happens with whatever type of art form you're doing. Do you try to, like, during these times, to do something else on your own, just to be creative, even if it's just creating for you, just to keep the flow going?
yeah, yeah. But see, I want to keep building the world of those two characters because I love them. I genuinely, they're like my, I don't know, like a Ren and Stimpy to me or something. I love them, and I don't care. I hope other people love them, but I love them, and I want to keep doing that. Zach is the co-creator with me, but it was like I went to him like, hey, he's a much better writer than me, so so it's like, hey, will you help me develop all this stuff, and so that's where Zach comes into it. And then I do all, like, we'll record the voices, but then I do all of the anime. And he lives in Portland, Oregon. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So yeah, it's a long distance relationship, but no, we make it work. I do all the animation, and then so that's yeah. I'll try to do like random things. Like I have a podcast with my friend Jesse. It's KYGY2K on YouTube and wherever you can listen to podcasts and stuff. But so I've incorporated stuff into that. So you can see some of my claymation, little things, not like huge scenes or anything, just things I could do in a day that I could put into the episode. Like the Thanksgiving episode has a claymation titles and a turkey that talks. And then I did an Ernest one. I showed you yesterday, but I'll show you again today.
Yes. Let's see Ernest again.
Okay, here he comes. Well, his hat's falling down. But you see his outfit.
That's
but so I
great.
put Ernest in there, and then what else? Oh, me and Jesse were claymation in the beginning of the Christmas special, so that was fun.
Now we were talking yesterday too, because again, I find it absolutely amazing the amount of time and dedication and patience that you have to do what you do. I had asked yesterday just to basically talk about if you do something it's a couple of minutes, how long does that take? And you were talking about one in particular, which is incredible, and the long days.
The last one I did, which was I started animating a year ago right now. So that's like my last short, which took 2 months. It's what I animated for that. I reused the ending, a part of my other short for the end credits because they talk about it. But so the main thing without the end credits was 4 minutes. It took me 2 months to do, but 2 months of like 14-hour days. Not like I had nothing else going on. So I would wake up, I would animate, build whatever I needed. It took a long time. I think I only took off Sundays. Like I think but yeah, it took a while.
But you were
There's
saying
even
too,
a part where there's even like the middle part of that, the magic show. I was like, this could work without the magic show. But I'm like, no, that's yeah.
but it's
What
like
were
you
we
were
gonna say?
it's like you were saying yesterday too, about how, like, once you get into it and once you're doing it and you're like, you don't want to stop because you have the flow going. Do you want to stop and save that for tomorrow? Or you look at the clock and go, yeah, I could squeeze another scene in, and then realize that it's going to go a lot longer than you thought it would.
Especially if you have no issues, like, because sometimes I'll have Wi-Fi. Like I have 2 cameras and there's the Wi-Fi thing. So sometimes you gotta hope that it doesn't. You're in the middle of a scene, and then all of a sudden, like either the app freezes out, something happens, and you lose that connection, which then resets all of the camera settings, and it won't look the same. So you got to restart. I don't know how many times that's happened. When those things don't happen, I could get done like 20 seconds, especially if it's just talking. I could get done like 20 seconds in a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. But if I have those issues, and a lot of the time, that is what is taking so much time. Like I accept the fact that 1 frame or 24 frames per second, which is what I do, because you could do 12 and get away with it. Like a lot of animation does 12, but I wanted to look as smooth as possible. So I like to do the 24. And you can do more than that, but I don't have the technology right now. But yeah, a lot of times it's just technical, like getting the lighting right, making sure, like, will I be able to remove this arm in post without it looking like it's all these things that I'm not the best at. So I try not to even use those things. That's why my guys shimmy instead of like, walking normally, because I can't, that's a whole other thing that I can't really do right now with what I have available to me.
That's crazy that like you said, like one little lighting change in the background, continuity will throw the entire scene off. But you were talking yesterday too that there's some you can possibly cut to another scene, or sometimes do you have to redo the whole scene?
Yeah, there's been times where I've had to read, like I was saying, I animated a short called Smile, not affiliated with the movie Smile. It was like 3 years before that movie was a thing. One of the walls just fell down. So there's like, no, I had to just start over. Because everything was out of place. It was just, but if somebody is like, say you're right in the middle of a dialogue and there's like good break, like they've talked enough, at least 3 seconds, 4 seconds, then you can switch the angle, which I've had to do many times because I've either like you're like, oh, I hit the camera. You know how many times that's happened? And then you're like, and then sometimes in my earlier stuff, you'll just see the camera move, and I'm like, oh, I don't care. And like, I want to get it done. It's like, so you'll see like a guy talking, and then the camera kind of goes like this. That was up.
How hard is it to try to reset like the camera or the scene if something moves?
I've been able to do it twice successfully without it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, that is perfect. But that's only happened like twice. If it, and it can only be like a this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because if it's like then you're like, trying to get it right back into that. It's just,
oh my God.
At that point, you'll spend more time trying to do that.
You have
like the thing I use, you could see the frame before what you're taking and try to match it as close as possible, but it's not gonna.
The patience you must have to be able to deal with that is.
And I'm not a patient man, which is like the funniest thing, because I don't know, when I do that though, I'm like in a zone, and I'm just the next thing I know, like 5 hours go by, and I'm like, I gotta eat something, but I don't want to stop because I'm like, I want to get this done. But I'm also like trying to take my time and get the expressions right. And that's another thing that I don't do, but I should start doing. But I don't have any other actors. It's just me. So it's like all the puppets are me acting. I don't take reference footage. So it's kind of like yeah, it's everybody else's voice, but then I have to be like, how would this character act? So they're all me in my, like, you know what I mean? It's easier, and movies do this, is they'll take reference footage of the voice actor acting, and they'll try to match it to that type of thing. I haven't done that yet. So every character that I've animated is me and my expressions and how I would do it if I was acting in those things. So that's another thing people don't take into account, and it's kind of like, it's hard.
That's interesting. You don't think about, like you said, like how each character would you, like you said, use yourself. If you ever need a volunteer, just send me some script and I'll just give you some goofy reads for you. I mean, it's
just like Jack's like a goofy rabbit, right? So he's got like the mind of like a 3 or 4-year-old. He's not, that's how we wrote him. He doesn't understand nuances of humans or whatever. And then Alfonso has the voice of a 38-year-old, but is supposed to be like 12. And that's a joke that's in the movie. But like, they're totally different characters. So I have to, it's, and then you got Bob, who's voiced by Dian Bahar, also totally different from the other two. And it's just hard to make, like, how does this one move and make it look a little bit like he's alive, different than. And I'm not perfect at this. I'm saying I'm trying. This is what like
Listen,
I'm recognizing that you know, all of these things that go into one little thing, and it's a lot.
it's a lot of work. It's amazing. It's so fun to watch. Like I said, I enjoy your feed. And then all the fun stuff you do too. You're always taking us back too. You're always going back to like the 80s, like you said, like with the VHS stuff. And it's just fun. It's just a reminder. It's always nice, like I said, just to take you back sometimes. It brings you back to a time, it brings you back to a memory, it takes you away from all the chaos of today. So thank you for all that too that you're always putting out there.
Well, thank you. I always say it's always funny when people like on TikTok will comment like, "I love your content," and then I'm like, "But it's not my content. It's these are like VHS commercials from old VHS tapes I found, or like an old clip from a show that you can't find anywhere." It's just I'm obsessed with lost media type stuff and things that are rare. Like even if I don't ever want to watch it, it's just like I like to archive. I have I don't know if you can see behind me, but those are all movies. Those are
Wow.
like all my movies, and then well, there's more. There's some right here, and then I have probably double the amount of movies and TV shows digitally on my 2 hard drives. Like there's all of this is digitized. So when people are like, I love physical media, but I also recognize that digital is I rarely watch it unless I want to like if I want to watch it in like the best picture quality, that's when I'll break out the Blu-ray player, put it in and stuff like that. But like for convenience, I have a Plex account, and all of this stuff is set up through my Plex account, and I just watch it on my TV. I spend more time on my Plex than I do on any other streaming service. Which is cool about Plex too, because I could share my library with you.
Oh
It's a
wow.
free app. So like if it's the digital equivalent of being like, hey, you want to borrow this?
Oh
Like
wow.
it's like, hey, you want to watch my stuff?
So
I could
you're a
I
blockbuster. You're basically
yeah, I
bringing your
literally
wow.
I don't have a server big enough to like invite everybody I know to it or whatever, but like I have at least 8 friends that'll check my stuff all the time, and I could send it to you if you want, but like yeah, like
That's
we're doing an episode tomorrow about Three Ninjas, and I don't think it's streaming anywhere. And my friend, I was like, it's on my Plex, Jess. So he just watched it on my Plex. So like that's what it's good for. Like if it's not streaming anywhere, I have it. You can watch it on my thing. If and I could give you access to it. I let you have access to the server, and you can watch it if my hard drives are plugged in. You can watch whatever I have.
that's awesome.
So
That's just got to get some
but you,
popcorn and like I
yeah,
said,
you can't download it, so it's not like it's literally like, hey, I'll let you borrow my DVD. Hey, I'll let you borrow this digital file. You can't download it, but you can watch it. I guess you can screen record it, but whatever.
it's just I
It's
mean
just-
the technology and the ease of everything, like you were saying before, that you're dealing with the gentleman in Portland, and like we
Mhm.
were saying, that's Hollywood now. Like I said, I'm
And then
sitting in my basement, you're sitting in your basement, and it's Hollywood. It's everybody can do it. It's
my friend Bill, who's like one of my best friends now, and I've never met him in person. Bill is our editor for the podcast, and he was just a fan. We actually first he liked my stuff that I posted on TikTok, and he was like, I have a bunch of Ninja Turtle comics that I should just send you. And I was like, if you're serious, I will gladly take them. And he was, and he sent me a box of about 50 old, like original run Ninja
wow.
Turtle comics. Well, the adventures, the cartoon version ones, but there's some like the first appearance of Slash is in one of them, and a couple of the original Eastman and Laird. Anyway, he sent me this whole box. We became really good friends. I sent him some stuff, and then I was like, I really wish that like I could make the pod. I had time to make the podcast into like a video show, like an actual show with clips and stuff. But he was like, well, I could do that for you. So Bill became our editor. Thank you, Bill. He turned the show into something awesome. So that's all him. Uh,
And that's the thing. That's the thing that I love about this. Like I said, back in the day, 2-3 years ago when I was doing the IG lives, I was doing the Bearded Babble. And again, meeting you through Corinne, we were doing the Stranger Danger, and that was just so much fun. Where I would get on with Corinne, We would talk for a little bit, and then she'd be like, okay, here you go. And she would just bring in somebody like yourself that she knew, and you would just have a conversation with a
The
complete
funniest thing
stranger.
is, she had no idea that I did anything for Kevin Smith. That was the funniest thing. I did the Wake and Bake intro for Kevin, if anybody doesn't know, his video blog thing, and a couple other little claymation stuff. And when she asked me to do it, and I looked up who you were, I was like, oh my god, like I just did this thing for Kevin. This is like, yeah, absolutely. So, that was just like, what are the odds of that? Like I also hadn't spoken to her since college, which was the years for me 2004 to 2008. So that's around the last time we spoke. So it's just, that was so random. But like, what are the odds of that?
It's just the energy connects, and everyone has a great story. And yeah, the whole, Jay and Silent Bob thing. If you don't know, I was Popcorn Eater in Reboot. If you watch the opening scene and you don't blink, you will see my amazing performance, which I think I got snubbed for an award for, but that's okay. It's that was just fun.
And they didn't put you in that Logic video.
Yeah, that I am a little upset about that they had a great scene in there where everybody's sitting around eating popcorn and you didn't have the popcorn eater. But hey, we laugh at it and we move on. That's what we do.
Exactly. I know how you feel, bud.
Yes. Yeah, we had a long discussion about that yesterday. It's
yeah, and we realized that it's probably, I mean, honestly, it's probably for the best, just because I wanted to be known more for my stuff anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, I would love to do it. I still would. Like, if he wants me to, I'll absolutely. I was supposed to do a Clerks 3 animation for something. But like, if he was like, hey, let's do it for Mallrats, or let's do it for Tusk, or not Tusk 2, or if they make Loose Jaws or something, like whatever. And I'll be like, absolutely, I would absolutely do it. It's just like, I'm not gonna hound him anymore because, I know the dude's busy.
Yeah.
I get it.
You just got to keep on. That's the thing. You got to keep on plugging forward. You got to keep on doing
He
your
also
thing.
he did a voice in my animation anyway, so it's not like, thanks, like that's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't be like,
yeah, exactly. I can't complain because I didn't make it into a video.
Because that was, it's fine.
Got to enjoy what you got, and just that's.
Plus, maybe I'll get to a level where they're finally like, hey, let's do something. And then you're like, yeah. Well, that's when they come to me. And I'm like, cool.
But I mean, it's Kevin. I mean, like when we met up with him a couple of months ago, it's he's very forgetful. We'll just leave it at that. It's Kevin Smith.
I get it. It's fine. I understand. Like he'll remember the second he sees you or you bring it up. But then I know it's gone because 85 other people have also brought something to his attention that he's like, oh yes.
Yeah.
And I get that.
It's exactly. It's understandable.
At first I was like, yeah, just because I was so like, this is amazing. This is always what I wanted. And then it didn't happen.
It's just amazing to see how he never stops though. It's like he's got 10 things going on, and then you think that he's going to be done with something, and then there's 2 more things, and then you think he's going to be done, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, this guy just doesn't stop. It's
yeah, he's got his hands in everything, which is awesome. I mean, I understand the dude has probably got like 5 minutes to himself a week, Yeah. So I get it. I'm thankful I got to do anything for him. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So, it's not like,
yeah, that's it. We just keep moving forward. That's all.
Forward, and then eventually it'll come back around.
That's the important thing, is the energy and the connections are there, and you never know. The weirdest things happen. Every now and then I'll get like a message or something from somebody and be like, okay, like you almost forgot that connection was even there. And it's like, okay, wow, wait a second. It still is there. There still is something that can come out of this. So you just never know. Don't burn any bridges. Just keep all the good energy.
Just reconnected with someone. I won't say names.
Yes.
I don't. But I haven't spoken to since like 2010 or 11. I always thought this person hated me, and and I was like, but no, everything's cool. and we're supposed to hopefully going to get lunch on Friday. So
That's
we'll
that's
see.
yeah, I know who that is. Nobody else does, and I keep that under wraps. And that's again,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
something that I
but I
can
mean, like
definitely see
that's
some big things. So,
well,
and
no,
I'm
no,
a
I don't even mean for the connection purpose. I just meant to like clear almost my conscience for if I was being an asshole back then and not even realizing it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I felt like
that's
a dick about how things went down back in the day, and I'm glad that I was able to, and that he was recepting of it and wanting to get lunch and stuff. So that's cool, and that yeah, and yeah,
that's important to grow. I mean, that's something that we always should do. I mean, like I said, my battery is running low. Hang on one
oh,
second. I'm
get to the
plugged.
charger.
Wait a second. The charger is in. That is
Oh no,
on.
is it
Did
plugged in?
Oh my gosh. Hang on one second. This is hold on. We gotta hold on. How did I not plug that in before? Oh my gosh. Oh, technical difficulties. Okay,
He's got
hang
to
on one
charge.
second.
He's got to plug it in.
Okay, we're gonna do this. Hang in there. Okay, all right. And that
While Andy
okay,
is plugging
back.
in his thing, I'm going to
All right,
plug the
hold on a
Mahoning
second.
Drive-In Theater
Okay.
because that's the shirt I'm
Oh my
wearing.
gosh. What okay. All right, here we go. Yes. Thank you for okay. See, that is the reality of trying to figure it out. Like I said, it's
I said, while you're fixing it, I'm going to plug the Mahoning Drive-In Theater.
I got it. I came down before and I got everything set up real quick again. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have everything set. And that was on my checklist was just plug the computer in. And again, I
And
missed
it
that.
didn't.
At least I hit record today. So that was an easy
It's
fix.
good.
That's not a bad thing. We're still recording. I can see that. I can't we just I think this is such a valuable lesson between yesterday and today. It's basically just just laugh at it and keep moving forward. That's plug the drive in.
Yeah. The Mahoning Drive-In. I'm not really. I mean, not affiliated with it, and I don't work there or anything. I just love this place, and it's awesome. I saw. Are you familiar with Joe Bob Briggs?
Joe Bob Briggs. No.
He was the host of Monster Vision on TNT in the
Okay.
90s, and now he's on Shudder with The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. It's the same exact show, just on Shudder. He had his first ever jamboree at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, and I went there. I had a great time. It rained. It's a lot like Woodstock. Got very muddy the first day, and then it cleared up in the afternoon. What was that from Wayne's World too? It rained in the morning.
In the morning.
Cleared up in the afternoon. That's what it was like. No, it was great. I had a great time. That place is amazing. It's the only drive-in that still shows 35 millimeter film.
Wow.
It has the second largest screen in the country, the largest on the East Coast, and it's in Lehighton, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So, place
Yeah,
is awesome.
we still have one. I forget the name of it. It's up kind of a little bit more northern Jersey. I've gone to it a couple of times. Took my daughter there one time, and it's just fun. You know, as a kid, we used to go to one on Route 3 here. It was a big one in New Jersey. As a kid, I remember going. So it's just a fun way to watch a movie. It's a different way because everybody's so used to either. Well, nobody's even real. Is anybody even used to going to a movie theater anymore, or is
I
everything
don't
just
know.
home? We just lost another local little movie theater right by us. I was very sad the other day. I was driving and I saw there was a little movie theater. And I remember I don't remember how many seats it was, really tiny. I remember a couple of times if you were late to the movie, sometimes you would get stuck in a seat that was actually behind a pole. So you would
Oh,
actually, it was
yeah.
one of those old movie theaters had the poles, and you would have to sit and watch the movie like this if you got there late. But they're few and far in between now. You just see
Yeah.
them disappearing.
The other funny thing about the Mahoning was it almost closed down. This like solar panel company just like bought the land or whatever, and then there was so much public outcry that they just were like, "Nah, forget it. We didn't know this place had that much like
Wow.
historical significance." And so that it was literally for a day. That it was one day went by, and they were like, "Nah, we're not gonna buy this place. We didn't know. We didn't know." We didn't know that everybody loved it so much or that it was like a thing. But also that place has like it's not just movies. They only show retro movies. So they'll do like events where each movie's almost an event. Well, they'll have vendors selling things. It's almost like everything is like a con. like not a like a convention.
Yes.
That's like I saw Adventures in Babysitting and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and Keith Coogan was there. So it was
Great
like
guy.
they had, yeah, he is. And I talked with him a bunch about Kevin because I did the thing for Kevin. But this is why the place is awesome. So the movie's happening, right? And my friend Brian goes to the snack stand and he's gone a long time. And I'm like, where's Brian? And I could see the light from the concession stand, right? Which is like inside this little shack. And I see he's got the same hoodie as me. I see that red hoodie and he's talking to Keith Coogan. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go over there. And I went over and I talked to him through the whole movie. And it was like, the Mahoning has all these VHS tapes on the wall, which you could buy from them. And we were just like literally going stack by stack, talking about all the movies. So that happened for like an hour. But that's the type of, it's like a cool place like that. Lloyd Kaufman, I met him there. Yeah, there's always people there, like from the movies that they're showing. Usually it's a fun, awesome place. It's worth the drive. Like I drive, it's an hour and 40 minutes from me, and I drive there all the time. So
how great is it in this day and age, though, that a place like you said that it can be saved within 24 hours? Because we've lost, like I'm in Passaic, New Jersey. We used to have the Capitol Theater. The Capitol Theater was a legendary theater. When I tell you every band in the world played there, it was a tiny little place. I saw so many amazing concerts. And then all of a sudden, one day they announced that it was closing. And, people went there and they picketed a little bit and they protested a little bit. And, they tried to save it, but it couldn't. I mean, had it been in this day and age, like you said, where you can get like a couple of 100,000 people, like in an instant together to support something and save something. And in that case, it's a wonderful thing that it was saved. But it's a shame that we've lost so much. And another thing, is that a dangerous thing too? Because are we giving the people too much say, too much control, that if they don't want something, are we caving to it?
I don't know. I don't think denying people of power is ever a good thing. You know what I mean? It's like the mass amount of people. So I don't know. But like Joe Bob's Jamboree, it was saved like a week before they had that event. And Joe Bob, the thing about it, I don't know what happened. Shudder was there and they filmed the whole thing. It was supposed to be an episode of the show and it never aired. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's behind the scenes drama or anything like that. I have no idea. But they did, like Shudder had cameras there and they filmed the whole thing the way they would film his breaks during the movies on The Last Drive-In. And during his opening monologue, because he always, on every episode he does an opening monologue, he did a whole speech about how the Mahoning was saved and how the drive-in, because his whole thing is, since his first show in the 80s, is the drive-in will never die. Is that what he would always say? So that was with that whole, the drive-in will never die. And yeah, that place is awesome. I wonder what happened. Does anyone out there work for Shudder and know why they've never aired the Joe Bob Jamboree that was supposed to be an episode? They showed 2 movies. I can't even remember the movies at this point. And they had guests. I think Liana Quigley was there. Yeah, I want to know what happened.
We'll have to find. Just leave it in the comments. We're gonna have to do some research, and we're gonna have to find out what happened to that. And that'll be another episode.
I mean, I'm friends with Darcy on Twitter. Darcy's his assistant, I guess, co-host at this point, because she's just as big as him at this point. Darcy is where she follows me on Twitter. Darcy, I'll tweet her.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find. We're gonna have to find up, catch up on that later on, and find out exactly what happened there.
Because I want to watch it, because it was hard to hear. It was also pouring rain. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I want to see. Maybe that's why. Maybe there's too many. I doubt there were technical difficulties, though. I don't know.
Yeah, the pouring rain could have thrown it off. You never know.
Maybe. So. They did the whole thing. They had everything. They had drones flying to get to.
That's a good, drive-in movies are a good time, but yeah, that's becoming a lost thing too. It's just so easy and convenient now just to sit back on your couch and just find.
Trauma, my smile thing got in the Trauma dance, which was at the Mahoning Drive-In, and it was shown on the second largest screen in the
Wow.
country, which was, I literally never thought the puppets that are this big, they're about the size of my forearm, would be on this that large of a screen. Even though it was a 2-minute short, it was like, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, that's got to be a pretty good feeling. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. I know when I saw myself on a big screen, I know I actually kind of like screamed and threw some popcorn up in the air, even though it was for like 3 seconds. But it's just to
Yeah,
see your work or you or something like that. It's like, whoa, hey, wait a second. That's it's cool.
or just someone like appreciating it. Like that's the I do have to give Kevin Smith the biggest credit to inspiring me again, because I was so ready to just not do anything anymore. Like meeting him and him being like, dude, how much would you charge for this? Was like, what are you talking about? Like, I never in a million years really thought he'd be like, I thought he'd be like, oh, cool, man. And that was it. You know, I thought that would be he went that extra mile to actually do that for me. And he did. I got the check is framed right there from when he paid me. And it's not a lot, like, but I mean, it's like, it happened. That's proof that it happened. And then Lloyd Kaufman signed the program for Trauma Dance for me. Like, congratulations. I made a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. And then Joel, the creator of MST3K, was like, if Art Clokey worked on the opening of Mystery Science Theater 2000, because I made a little bit. And Art Clokey is the creator of Gumby. So he
Oh wow.
compared me to the creator of Gumby.
Wow.
Like, these are all huge like
Yes.
influences on me, and they've all been like, I don't know, Joel, that's the only interaction we've ever really had, but was that Twitter one. But that was cool as hell. And then like Dean Bahar is like my friend.
Yeah,
So like,
we spoke about that in the lost episode
it's,
yesterday, and it's you can't question that, because like we both said, sometimes you connect with people and you're like, why am I connected with this person? What? And you just have to just accept the energy, see where it goes, and just enjoy it, and realize, you know what, they're just, at the end of the day, they're just another
they're
person just
just,
like you.
yeah, they're just
That's
people. It's just
we're
so
all just
weird.
human.
Exactly. It's just so like, I never met a famous person till I was in my maybe 20 something. Yeah, I would say like Alan Ruck might have been the first famous person that, like, actual famous person that I was around for an extended period of time. And I realized, yeah, they are just all people, but it's still like, so, because for half my life at that point, it was like these people were just on a screen, and now I get messages from them directly asking me to do them a favor. Like, and I'm like,
Who am I?
like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly like,
yeah.
it's crazy. Or like, hey, can you help with this? Or hey, I like that, or whatever. It's just like, it's so weird to me. I'm still so like Kevin knows my name
Yeah, yeah.
and by sight. Like,
It,
I see him and he's like, Joe. That's
it's you just got to accept that and use that energy when you're feeling down, when you're feeling like, things aren't going well. You gotta
which
you
is
gotta use that
often.
energy. I like I said, I mean,
It's,
I'm grateful, after completely losing the episode yesterday, that I was able to. And like I said, it was probably a moment where, as soon as you got off and then I checked it and then I saw it was done, I probably had about a second or two where I decided, am I going to dive off the deep end, or am I going to take a deep breath and just listen to everything that we had just talked about? We just touched a lot of it again, and just say, okay, let me bring it upstairs to my daughter. She checked it. It was gone. There was nothing there, whatever happened. And it was like, okay, I think I went and I got lunch, and then I sent you a message saying, hey, Joe, it's gone. And you were like, well, Tomorrow,
like, oh
possibly.
no, bummer. The only day I couldn't do was Tuesday, so I was like,
But
any other day is fine. But
that's what's the worst that happened there. We lost something, and we get to do it again, and we get to talk again, and it's always great. And I can't look forward to doing it again.
and that episode stays just between us.
Exactly,
because no one will, even though half of it is this one again, sort of. It's different. It's different.
But again, the great thing about it was that was the first thing. Like I said, when I realized it was gone, it was just like, wait a second, we just talked about this. And again, it's just reminding yourself and using the tools just to get you through the dark times, which sometimes aren't that dark when you really think about it. Take the light that you have, take that check that you have hanging up there, take the connections, the things, and you got to remind yourself of those type of things and go, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I may have a bad hour.
I gotta do that.
Day.
I gotta do that like every other day because it's just no. I know what you mean, but like it's times have been tough. But I had COVID like for 2 weeks. It was rough. That was the start of my year. It's just it's just not that that's rough, but I just mean financially, everything. Like I'm not part of the Kevin Smith Club right now because I can't afford it.
Yeah, I hear you there. It's I'm
about to start selling all this shit. I need some money.
I hear you there. Believe me, it's what are you gonna do? It's I don't know the answer to.
It's easy to compare yourself. It's because it's easy to be like, yeah, I to everyone I seem like I'm doing good. I'm doing well. All these things happen, and then these are all very good things to be grateful for. But then I'm like, well, my other friend is directing this and this and this and this, and every week, and they're making a lot of money. And then my other friend's producing all of these things, and my other friend's doing this. And then I'm like, hey, I feel like such a loser. You know what I mean? Like,
you got to stop. You got to look to them for the inspiration. Yeah, don't compare. Look to them for the inspiration.
They might be thinking like, oh, you're doing what I want to do, but I can't because I have to do these things, which I don't really want to do, even though it might be in the same industry or whatever. And not that they would want to do claymation, just like that I'm doing what they would want to do in whatever, I don't know how to say it. Not that without sounding like an asshole. Like,
Joe, you just got to
trust me.
Listen, you are an amazing artist. You got to keep doing that. You're an amazing, and like I said, I just want to thank you just for being an amazing person because, like we were talking about yesterday too, with everything that you go through and everything that's going on, you've reached out to me. You're one of the few people, and like I say, and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, and I think you just hit a key point right there. A lot of people think, a lot of people look and they see, oh, Joe's doing great. Oh, Andy's doing great. Oh. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and you're someone that reaches out to me, and I'm grateful. Every now and then, all of a sudden, like I'll be like, Joe sent a text. What is it? It's just checking in. That's
something
it.
Random. Like,
how are you doing?
Here's a broadcast of it's Friday the 13th. Here's a broadcast of Jason Takes Manhattan from 1997 with all the commercials. That was.
But you don't know what's going on, and it's like one of those things where it's just like someone thought of me, someone was thinking about me, and someone wanted to send me a good energy or send me an 80s commercial or whatever it is. It's just the fact that someone was thinking of you and someone sent some good energy your way, and I'm grateful to that. And that's something that you've actually reminded me that I want to start doing more of. So thank you for that.
I do have to be better at like responding to people. If like a lot of times, and this happens a lot, I'll get either a text message or someone will call me, but I'm in the middle of something, right? And then I completely forget. Like I'll see it, like it'll be like right now, like if somebody texted me right now, I'd be like, oh, okay, and then just I'll forget about it, like because I read the message, but I wasn't, you know what I mean? And then I forget. And then like 2 days will go by and I'll be like, oh shit, I never called Phil back. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm like, it's too late to call him.
No, that's when you just got to get on there and go. And I do it quite often too. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like and you just gotta
yeah. I gotta get better. I try to like reach out and stuff, and I appreciate it when people do it to me, even if I might not respond right away or whatever. And it's usually I always feel bad because there's people I don't talk to that often that it always happens with, because it's always at the like worst time. Like, hey, I'm in the city. You want to get a drink? And I'm like, I am in North Jersey. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's always like that. Just funny because I'm home most of the time. It's
it's always when you're out and about and doing something, that's when you get the, hey, are you available? And it's like, for the past 3 weeks I was, and for this very moment I'm not.
I know. It's always, everything always happens exactly at, like today. I didn't have any plans, and my mom's like, "Could you take me to the?" And then you were like, "Can we redo it?" And I didn't want to wait longer because I still wanted to be the 50th guest. So I was like, "All right, we'll do it in the morning." And then I got it right after this. I have to take her to her appointment. Then we have to go to the butcher because she needs to get her meat. My mom's blind, so she's legally blind. She can't see. She's like Mrs. Magoo, so I have to take her everywhere. Yeah, so that's about it.
Well, it sounds like a fun, adventurous day there.
Yeah, I'm sure. That'll lead to 3 other stops we got to make. We'll see what happens there, and then I'm looking forward to it. I'll tell you.
I can see you're giving a lot away just with your body language. You can see the energy. Listen, it's life and it's what we do. I know. And the bottom line is, what you're doing right now, you're laughing at it. That's it.
I know. I got it.
Just exactly. Breathe, listen to some music, and just laugh at it.
Like yesterday, you asked how many claymation projects have I started and stopped, and I was like, I don't know how many. There's so many. There's photographic evidence of these things existing, but I've never animated them. Like, I was trying to make a Mortal Kombat, and I made Goro, but Goro was way too top heavy, and I couldn't make him stand up. And then I got so mad, I threw him across the room, and I literally threw him in the trash. He looked cool, I thought, but maybe I shouldn't have thrown him in the trash and stuff like that. Then the other one I was gonna do, like the original 2 shorts I did with the alien, then the guy in the bathroom, then there was gonna be a third one with like a sea serpent and a guy on the beach, and then I set up the whole scene. I made like a sea serpent, and then I used real sand, which was a big mistake because my cat. Yes.
If you know anything about cats and sand, cats are gonna go to sand and do what they're gonna do in the sand. that is.
So I was like, no, I shouldn't use real. Now that was way better. That was before I knew like what to use. Like now I would make it out of like, I'd paint it to make it look like sand. There's a whole lot of other things you can do than just get a big bag of sand that I poured all over the table. Cleaning that up was a mess too. Like,
listen,
what was
you can't be mad at the cat because it wasn't the cat's fault. It
was my fault. I know. I was an idiot
for
leaving it there. It's just.
And knowing cats too, you probably like yelled at the cat or looked at the cat. You know, the cats just look at you like, what? Like, what is your problem? That's where I go.
I brought. Oh my god! Yeah, so I have to do everything in the middle room upstairs, which is the smallest room, because I would do it all the stuff down here, but like this is where their litter box food. It's just like there's not.
Yeah, I feel your pain. Like I said, being in a cramped corner of the basement, like I said, this is kind of, but if you step 1 foot that way, it's just absolute chaos. Things are ready to fall over. It's a packed basement, but you make it work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a row house in South Philly, so I'm right in the dead center of the street with like neighbors everywhere. I can't like look out my window. I'll see Marge, washing her windows, just like a picture Rocky, where Rocky lives, even though he was kind of Port Richmond area, but that street he lived on kind of I got Rocky 2, he moved to South Philly. Rocky's house is Rocky 2. It's kind of like
little Philly history.
It's always Sunny in Philadelphia when the Christmas episode when they're singing I live on a street like that, people.
Ah,
So
there you
it's,
go.
well, actually, if you saw Hustle with Adam Sandler,
Yes, yes, yes.
the house he lives in that movie is legitimately, if you walk out my front door and make a left, go to the corner, it's on the right. It's right there. It's when they filmed that scene, we all had to move our cars. They all had
Oh
Netflix
wow.
put out these things saying like, we're filming a movie here, you can't park.
I think the closest movie we ever had was Be Kind, Don't Rewind.
Oh, Be Kind Rewind. I
Yes, with
love
Jet.
that movie.
That was actually filmed just a couple of blocks, and
Oh,
it was so
really?
fun. Yeah, that was just a couple of blocks right down from me, right up on the
Ah,
same street, just a couple of blocks down. That was fun. I remember when
yeah.
everybody was down there and Mos Def was down there, and yeah, that was interesting. It was
That
something for our little town. It was like, hey, we got celebrities in our little town here. It was cool.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. I wasn't here that. Okay, they came one night, and Adam Sandler and Queen Latifah were both supposed to come down to shoot. They had everything set up, and then they never showed up. They got held up on their other set, so they never showed up to set. Then a year went by because like that was like interrupted by COVID or something. I don't know what was going on, but a year, like almost a full year went by, and they came back and filmed the scene that they were going to film the year before. I think it was like a year. It was a long ass time, and I was like, I guess they're not coming back. And then all of a sudden, the stuff was back one day, and I was like, oh. But I wasn't here the day Adam Sandler was. My neighbors got video of him and saying hi to him and stuff.
That's the magic of Hollywood,
I
and
was at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater the
see,
night
there you go.
the
It all
night
comes back. It all comes back to the
that
Mahoning Drive-In Theater. That's the magic of Hollywood. Even they even have issues, just like we have issues. It's
I can't imagine how much money was wasted on setting up
oh,
that whole thing. They had a crane in the middle of the street with the side of the house that they rebuilt the side of the house. I don't know why they just didn't go in the window. It, but they literally built that window in the middle of the street, so on a crane, and they had all the lights set up. And then I don't even think that shots in the movie, whatever they were trying to do. Yeah, I
the
was like,
the money
and then they
that's
never even showed up. They never shot anything. And I just, oh my god, how much money? That's all I keep thinking of. It's like,
oh, I remember one day they were filming for The Sopranos in Patterson, and I was working that day, and I was right around the set, and they were there for an entire day. They basically took three scenes. One scene was a walking scene, I would say about 10 to 15 seconds. Another scene was a standing scene, probably same thing. And then another scene, there was a little bit of a fight and then a shooting in another place, like right across the street. But like I said, they were probably there for about 16 hours. And when I tell you, I've been on a couple of sets, I've
yeah,
never seen a food craft. They literally had one entire block of just food and chefs. And like I said, they were there the entire day for less than a minute's worth of shooting. And I was just
yeah.
like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like how much goes into.
I was an extra in Creed 2, and the shot of them walking into the ring, like when they for the final fight of the movie, that was like 18 hours. It was like and I was standing that whole time. I'm right where when Drago walks in. You can only see the outline of my hair, and it's the only reason I know it's me because my hair was like fluffy. Uh, but yeah, that was brutal. Just because there's nowhere to sit, and it was freezing. I mean, it wasn't. It was like it was supposed to be cold, but it was the middle of the summer, so we all had these like super heavy coats on, but we couldn't have the air conditioner on,
Oh,
not because of sound, because they kept spraying Michael B. Jordan down with water and he would be cold.
cold, yeah.
So understandably, but it was for us, it was very hot because it was supposed to be Russia, but it was like the middle of summer. Uh yeah, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's filmed that's not even used. I have
Yeah.
an example. I was an extra in The Last Airbender. Okay. We spent 2 days, I think, learning how to do this specific march. And they had like a drill sergeant come and instruct us. And like 8-hour days of marching. When I tell you they didn't film or use any of that marching sequence stuff, it's not in the movie. I was on set for about 4 weeks. I didn't do any of that. I don't know anybody that did. And like, what was that for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so weird. It was like,
How much money does Hollywood have? I mean, my gosh.
that was it. The marching was at a Temple University in like an aircraft carrier hangar where you would keep aircrafts. Like, it was this huge open space, and like the extras were separated by like a tarp, and then like the kid that played Aang, or that, didn't they pronounce his name wrong in that movie too? But he was on the other side learning his martial arts stuff. And we were on the other side marching. But like, we all got paid to march, and they paid these people to, and there was at least like a couple hundred of us, and it's renting the space, the people. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, Hollywood, send some of that money. You obviously enjoy giving it away, so my gosh, yeah, that's.
I also wasn't on set. Okay, I was on set for 4 weeks, but what's funny about this is I was part of Platoon 9, and Platoon 9, we just sat in a tent for like 3 weeks, but the first day on set was like the mess hall scene for the Fire Nation soldiers, so I was on set for that, and you can't see me on camera, but you can see my friend Phil, who's like behind me, right? So then the rest of the time, it was Platoon 9. We're all just sitting in a tent every day, the whole day. We never got to set. Then finally, one day, they were like, Platoon 9, they're ready for you. We're like, yeah. So we go in, right? We're standing, and the guy's like, when they call action, run across the stage with your weapons going, ah! And we're like, okay, all right. And then we're here like, out of the way. Get out of the way. And we're like, what? They're like, they're you guys. There's like the 7 of us. They're like, you're in the shot. You got to move. And we're like, now this set was surrounded by a big giant green screen around the whole thing. So we go behind the green screen, and we're just standing there. An hour must have went by. Like, someone comes by and they're like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like, they told us we were in the shot, so we moved out of the way. And we were just waiting for someone to tell us what to do. And they're like, they're using everyone right now except for you 7. Come with me. So he takes us up this ramp, right? And then he's like, when they call action, run out this ramp with your weapons going, ah. And we're like, okay. And they call action, and then we realize we're on the exit ramp. So there's like 400 extras running directly at us. Cut, what is going on? We're like, that guy told us to come up here. And they're like, no, you're supposed to be over here. They bring us over here, back to the original spot where they told us to get out of the way. And they're like, when they call action, run across stage with your weapons going, ah! We're like, all right. And they're like, that's a wrap. You go home for the day.
Hollywood.
And then the other times we were on set, that was it. We were back in the tent, and yeah. So, you know, that was my experience on that movie. And it shows on the film itself. And I love M. Night. That movie is just, boom. I'm not even a fan of I didn't even watch the original show. I just know it angers people so much that it was so different and bad by comparison. So I truly don't know a single person that's like, oh yeah, The Last Airbender was a good movie. I really don't.
So you don't brag about your cameos in there? You keep that under wrap?
No, I had the worst time doing that. That was the worst. That was not fun. I had no good. We also had to wear our uniforms. You had to have a buddy go with you to pee because you couldn't take it off yourself. Where it was tied. Yeah. That was just the Fire Nation soldiers. The Water Nation, they all had robes that you could easily. No, for us, we had all these armor. We had armor, these gauntlets that my friend Phil stole, actually, and he still has them. So I probably shouldn't say that, but I didn't say his last name, so it's fine. Who cares at this point? At this point, I don't think anybody give a shit. That movie,
they're not making another movie.
No one would even want them.
They don't need the props anymore.
Yeah, it was bad. It was just uncomfortable, hot, and it wasn't fun. Like, I didn't have a good time on that set. So it's just. But also, being an extra sucks.
But the good thing is,
like cattle,
is we have good stories to tell. And that's the good
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
we're
yeah,
getting you got good stories out of it.
It keeps you humble.
Exactly. And we just got to keep on telling the good stories. That's all we can do. Oh, listen, I
Maybe
know
next
you I
year.
know you have a busy day ahead of you. I know you're gonna be
Yeah,
going
I
to the
still
butcher
got some
shop.
time.
Yeah, I've got a couple of
I
things
gotta
I've got
go
to
to
get
the
doing.
butcher.
You got to go to the
Maybe we'll
butcher.
maybe we'll stop at the baker. But not the
Oh,
candlestick maker
not the
because
candlestick maker. Joe, I appreciate we got to do this again.
let's hope
Uh
it records this time.
no, I've
All right.
I still can't believe I still forgot to plug it in, but at least that was one thing. So we got through that little hump. Again, it's just a learning experience. We laugh at it and we keep moving forward. And again, I'm grateful for you coming back on today. I'm grateful for your friendship. I'm
I'm
grateful.
grateful to know you as well, buddy. Thank you for having me back. And I will have you on my KYGY2K on my
Looking,
podcast soon. But
I
it's
am looking forward to that. Yes. And where else can we find? Give all your stuff here.
for Claymation, Chicken in the Fridge Product PROD on Instagram, and my regular is Joe Gariffo. Everything you can find everything through my regular Joe Gariffo Instagram, or yeah, that's probably the best place to look.
Check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And until we do it again, hopefully this way. Listen, if I text you in an hour and go, "Hey Joe, listen," so we may do it again.
Then we'll do it again on
we'll
Wednesday.
do it again.
No big deal, buddy.
We can make this a daily thing. We'll just
We'll
do it every day. We'll just do this. We'll make it. That's it. There we go.
We'll do our. I somehow become the co-host of another podcast by accident because we just keep doing this. This one's called Technical Difficulties with Andy and Joe.
Every episode, something goes wrong.
What's happening? Oh my God. But thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you again for the laughter. Thank you. Let's end it as we always do with the peace, the love, and the laughter.
Have a good one, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Give my love to the family, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.